Welcome to Canadian Justice. I'm Christine Van Geyn, and today we're talking about the changing world of legal services and how new disruptive companies are trying to rethink how businesses access legal help. For decades, the traditional law firm model has looked pretty much the same. Large firms, high hourly rates, complex billing structures, and legal services that can often be out of reach for startups and small businesses. But a new generation of companies is trying to disrupt that model. One of them is a Canadian company called Good Lawyer. Good Lawyer was founded with a simple idea: the legal services for businesses should be easier to access, easier to understand, and more predictable in cost. Instead of a traditional law firm model built around billable hours, the company connects businesses with lawyers through a flat fee service, flexible subscriptions, and on demand legal help. The company has also built a reputation for doing things differently, from a strong online presence and an unconventional brand voice to a focus on making legal services more approachable for entrepreneurs. But building an alternative model for legal services requires lawyers who understand both sides of the equation: the traditional legal world and the needs for modern businesses. My guest today is Marissa Muchnik, the head of business development at Good Lawyer. Before joining the company, Marissa had a long career as an in-house counsel for a major organization, working across areas like intellectual property, regulatory compliance, consumer protection and competition law, as well as on complex commercial transactions. She then made the traditional transition from traditional corporate legal practice to help build a different kind of service model. Marissa, thank you so much for joining me today. First, let's start with the basics. For viewers who haven't heard of a fractional legal services model or a company like Good Lawyer before, what exactly is the company and what's the problem you're trying to solve?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. Big fan of you and the show, so very excited to be here. I would say, simply put, Good Lawyer is offering businesses a better way to access legal services and offering, for some lawyers, a better way to practice law. It's offering really a third bucket. So if we think about our legal careers, a lot of us go in a very traditional route. There's private practice, there's in-house, and that tends to be it. And so what this is really a third bucket, which is that offering fractional legal support from, a host of sophisticated in-house counsel who want to provide legal services on their terms and not on the terms of a firm or a company. And we could talk a little bit about what that looks like.
Yeah, why don't you explain maybe how the model actually works and what type of clients are attracted to a model like Good Lawyer?
So Good Lawyer has a few service offerings. So we're traditionally in three buckets. We have fractional general counsel. So this is where we have good lawyers come into a company that is maybe an emerging growth company, a startup, a smaller company that really just can't justify a full-time legal salary. But at the same time, if they're going to a law firm for things like an MSA, a contract, basic, contractual things that really an in-house lawyer could be doing, they're going to be paying an arm and a leg for that service. So instead, what they can get is a fractional general counsel, meaning they're getting someone with all that wealth of experience of having worked in-house, but just 1 or 2 days a week. And they're able to access those services on a more streamlined model. Again, most of it would be the 2 days a week for this bucket of fractional general
I mean,
counsel.
what's so surprising to me is I know that that type of service exists in other fields. For example, accounting, there's been a fractional model for a really long time. But the legal services industry is so traditional, so adverse to change. It's really interesting that you're disrupting it this way. So what's the third bucket there?
Yeah, sorry. So then we also have fractional in-house counsel. So this is really just where you have a company with an established legal department, typically has around maybe 1 to 20 lawyers. And so you think about that small legal department that might be going through times of stress, times periods where there's a litigation, an M&A, and they just need more legal support. And so they're adding to their existing bench. And that's where the good lawyer will come in and provide support, and really on this way sometimes be supporting the legal team itself, also operating with the business, fully integrated, but in a company that is more a bigger corporation, usually a private corporation, again, with that established legal team. And in fact, this is where I got introduced to Good Lawyer in the first place, because I was a general counsel at a corporation. I was the only lawyer in Canada. And when there's periods of, big busyness and you only have one person, there's only so much one person can do. And so it's just adding that legal support.
It's interesting because it seems like it kind of covers the whole spectrum from small startups to large corporations in need of some special support for a one-off project or something like that. It's really interesting that it's
Exactly.
such diverse use cases here.
And
We've
there's actually a third use case as well.
well, let's talk about
Yeah.
the next commercial break.
Okay.